Hey, welcome back to the channel. Let's check out the 2025 Chieftain PowerPlus Limited from Indian. Rock and roll. Oh, Indian, man, they came out with a few new models this year and they're really trying to step up their game. I'm here with the Chieftain Limited PowerPlus, or Chieftain PowerPlus Limited, depending on how you want to say it. This is a brand new model for this year. And when I say brand new model, like they've been making the Chieftain for a long time, but this is a completely new, brand new redesigned bike. This bike, as you know, has been in production for quite some time with Indian, but they have changed the power plant out. And if you're looking closely at this, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about right away. That is a liquid cooled engine, 112 cubic inch. And because it's liquid cooled, as the demo guy was telling me, 3,000 RPMs, this thing's waking up. 3,000 RPMs on the air-cooled model, you're talking about grabbing another gear. So this bike is really, it's all new. And there's a lot of tech on this bike too that's brand new for the 25 model. I'll just start at the back because I'm right here. Tail lights that are on this are actually not just tail lights. They're actually warning lights. So there's active radar on this bike that if it sees somebody behind you approaching at a high rate of speed, it actually starts flashing the lights to let them know like, hey, you're here. That's pretty rad. The other thing that this bike has is blind spot monitoring. So on the actual mirror right here, you'll see that there is a light and it will indicate if there is somebody in your blind spot as you're riding, which again, we're starting to see some motorcycle manufacturers do it. BMW's got it on a few of their models now as well. What else is going on in this that's brand new for this model? Well, pretty much everything, the ergonomics. Supposedly this is their most comfortable ride yet. There is a lot of tech, like I said, so you've got your touchscreen display. Indian, I think, really knocks out of the park. This engine is fast, and we're gonna get into that in just a second, but this is 126 horsepower and 133 foot-pounds of torque. I love Apple CarPlay on these, so you can power yourself through Waze, can run the regular Apple apps, which you do. And it's a touchscreen, but also has buttons, glove friendly, completely set up as well. This also has a bunch of technology on it when it comes to traction control, lean control, all those things, cornering ABS and such. But because it's a liquid cooled, again, you're gonna have a very more consistent power band and you're gonna be able to wind the daylights out of this thing versus the other models. So let's stop talking and let's start riding.
So a couple other things on this bike. It does have some accessories installed in it. It has some exhaust, a few rider comfort accessories like the backrest if you're a wuss, just kidding. And also it has the PowerPlus intake ram air thunder something or other intake system, so it's got some grills and stuff on there. So let's get going. Now, one of the things about this bike that you should know too is it is heavy, but it is not unbalanced. It's not unbalanced. It's very easy. Wow, for an exhaust, for factory, it's actually got a pop to it. All right. One of the things I've always enjoyed about the Indian motorcycles is they're well balanced for as large of a bike as they are. And I noticed on some of the Harley Davidsons I took out recently, it feels like Harley's kind of stepped up their game on balancing their bikes out as well. Yeah, and this bike does not feel like it is a slouch whatsoever. Sometimes with the liquid cooled bikes you wonder, so here we go. Wow. Wow. Okay, folks, boys and girls, it's hard on the camera to kind of pick up speed and different things, but this bike has tremendous power. I was a little skeptical because I wasn't exactly sure how this was going to feel. You know, air-cooled V-twin thumpers have that feel that where they just have instantaneous torque off of the bottom. And because the guy told me that this bike had a higher RPM, I was kind of worried that it was going to be something, not that it's a bad thing, but sort of like my Pan America, where you've got to just wind the daylights out of the V-twin to get anything out of it. That is definitely not the case with this bike. RPMs on this, it says 6.5, but I mean, I just dropped a gear, twist the throttle, and it immediately starts climbing. There's no slouching. There's no slouching on this bike at all. That is an incredible power curve. If I could just say that about this bike, that actually is really surprising. I'm gonna throw this bike into the road glide, street glide category with Harley Davidson to kind of compare it. And interestingly, I got to spend some time on the new road glide CVO model that's all loaded up, and that had some performance upgrades, about $60,000 for the package. This bike, as it sits right now with the black metallic, is $31,700, so just about $32,000. And then you can add on a few other things to it, and you might be up around $35,000. So that's almost half the cost of the CVO. And I will tell you right now, I think the CVO has a slight performance edge, but it would be a very close call. If we could get this on the track and line them up, I would be very curious to to see who would happen, because those CVOs are super expensive, and it's your basic air-cooled pushrod motor that you're dealing with. This is the same V-twin that Harley uses, except, you know, there are differences and stuff, of course, but it's the basic blueprint. This is a liquid-cooled, all-new motor, all-new platform the bike's on, designed around the motor. Shifting is buttery smooth. Wow. See, that's the thing. You can get up the RPMs on this, which is quite deceiving, because it still sounds like a potato. And it still has that wrist-snapping torque right off the line as soon as you crack it. So you can lug this down, and it's still going. So what I was going to say before I saw a shiny object back there is that I really feel like bike manufacturers in recent years, and I'm saying probably in the last 3 or 4 years, have started really paying attention to the balance of the bike, because they realize none of us are getting any younger, and the average rider demographics, unfortunately, are getting older. And so when you build a land sled that weighs close to 900 pounds or maybe even more, you need to be able to support it with a wobbling knee and be able to move it around a parking lot without tipping it over. Because if you can't, you're going to lose your market share on most of the people that can afford these things. So I think Indian at first really put their, well, pun intended, foot forward, and they worked on a bike that was well balanced and easy to maneuver and navigate. This bike, exactly the way I thought it was going to be when I threw a leg over and got it off the stand. Very easy to move, very easy to maneuver. And Harley has done the same thing. I feel like the bike manufacturers have kind of seen the writing on the wall. So if you're getting an upper class bagger or cruiser, expect that they're going to be well balanced. And this bike is extremely well balanced. It does not feel like an 800-pound bike. So with this, I think with this fueled up, it's a little over 800 pounds. I think it's like 808 pounds, 810 pounds, something like that. Speaking of fuel, this has a 6-gallon tank, so the range will get you plus 200 miles if you don't drive like an idiot. Technology-wise, we talked a little bit about on the walkthrough, but there's also an electronic windshield. So it goes up, and then it goes way down, which is pretty cool. And I like the display as far as technology goes, that Indian does. I think they do a fantastic job on their computer setup. So you have a sat-nav GPS that does not require any input from a phone. It's completely independent. You don't have to pay for a subscription. It's there. And the reason why I like that is because sometimes you're places where there's no cell phone service, which is quite frequently up here in New England. This does not require a cell phone. So it does a good job. It has a built-in compass as well. And then you've got your analog gauge on the screen, and you have an analog gauge actually on the fairing as well, which is surprising that they do both. Frankly, I would just can that and go digital. Super smooth shifting on this bike, actually. And so much power. You may ask yourself, why am I driving like a grandpa? I am driving like a grandpa because the demo route that these bikes are on is about 35 miles an hour plus or minus, and they enforce it. And I am thankful to Indian for letting me use their bike, so I want to be respectful. But we will crack it open when we get back out on the main road again, so you can hear it. I'm gonna say another thing. This bike, the suspension, seems to be a real good balance between sporty and comfort. My voice isn't fluctuating at all, and I'm riding over some pretty good bumps on this road. And the seat itself is well cushioned, and I feel like I'm in a good position. I'm 6'4", so I am a tall guy. Some of these baggers though, like especially again, going back to like the Road Glide or the Street Glide, I feel like both of those bikes in this category, this bike outperforms with its suspension. Now the ST models that I have ridden as well, those are set up to be sportier, so you will expect a stiffer suspension, but I still have the flickability on this bike that I did on the STs. I mean, I'm not pushing down on this bike at all. I can manhandle this bike, no problem. But the suspension on this is super plush. And the price is 30% less, at least, depending on what options you end up getting into. So there's that. I'm curious if you are a Harley guy and then you go to an Indian, what your thoughts are, or if you're an Indian guy and you ride a Harley, what your thoughts are. I'm neither. I do like the Harley Davidson because of the brand name, and I like their machines. You can see the engineering and the thoughtfulness that go through it, but I've had bad experiences with them in the past. I'm back on one now, and my fingers, well, not that I believe in it, but my fingers are crossed that we're not going to have any issues. So far I haven't, so there's that. The one thing though that I'm kind of I kind of feel funny on when I'm driving one of these is that it's it kind of feels like you're cheating, because it's obvious that Indian is the competitor to Harley Davidson when it comes to these bikes. I know Yamaha and Kawasaki and everybody makes their big Vulcan massive cruiser bikes too, but I just don't think that that's the same market that Indian is like really going after. An American-made motorcycle, V-twin, testosterone sound, just like that's what they're going for. And so when you get on this, you kind of feel like you're driving a copy. But then there's this whole thing here where it's better. So I said it. Yeah, I don't know. I think if you want to buy a Harley by the name, if you want to buy a bike that does what Harley's doing and probably a smidge better in certain areas, then buy an Indian, and also have enough money left over to buy a motorcycle for your wife. Yeah, I mean this is just a phenomenal bike, and the suspension feels great. I'm like running into these potholes here, and there's like absolutely no shock to my tailbone whatsoever. So again, it feels like the seat's upgraded, and it feels like the suspension's upgraded, and I'm not washing out when I corner on this bike. I mean, it corners great. Wow, that's great. Here's a huge bump right here. Yeah, nothing. Wow, how do they do that? That's crazy. There's also quite an audio system on this. Again, comparing it over to Harley. Harley has a partnership with the Rockford Fosgate brands. I'm not sure who Indian's using, but they use their own power band audio setup, and it's supposedly pretty good, but I can't turn it on YouTube because they'll flag me for a copyright for whatever is playing. I will say another thing too about this. I noticed it has a 19-inch wheel, which, you know, when you start getting larger wheels, you start having problems handling, and I don't feel that, especially on the low speed side. Like you don't feel that at all. That wheel isn't affecting your cornering. I mean, it's instantaneous power, the torque that you'd expect, but it's a liquid cooled motorcycle. That's a first for me. Wow. Yeah. And it sounds like a potato. All right, you ready? Let's rock it. Yeah, see, that's deadly right there. Interestingly, I brought it up to redline and it was really soft. I don't know if you noticed that. It didn't do the ba 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 and throw me off the back of the bike. But it actually was soft and retarded the throttle, which is pretty cool. So guys, Indian doesn't really market this as a sport bike, but they are marketing it as a PowerPlus model, so it's got the new motor in it, obviously. I would take this and do a few things to it to make it less grandpa, and this would be a absolute sleeper, because it looks like you're going to the nursing home with all the chrome and everything. So if they make the Black Horse addition to this, take my money. And you can see, just even in tall gear, just rolling onto the throttle, I mean, I'm not even near the power band, and it's absolutely great. The brakes are pretty good on this too, by the way. Again, this is a massive bike. This weighs 800 pounds. What are your thoughts on it? Have you taken one of these for a ride? Let me know what you think. I'd be curious to hear. I hope I'm not the only guy on an island saying that this does a little bit better than the competition for a lot less money. I might be the only one thinking that, but I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I do love Harley, so boy, I feel like temptation is an evil mistress. Well, thanks for tuning in. As always, we appreciate your subscription, appreciate your comments. Let me know down below what your thoughts are, and as always, ride safe.